Frank and Melissa shared some very exciting news at their family Thanksgiving dinner. After 2 years of marriage, they're now expecting their first baby. The whole family shared in their excitement, and everyone wanted to know whether it was a boy or a girl. Melissa just passed her first 3 months, and Frank produced her sonogram picture and announced, "It's a boy!" Then everyone started offering their choices of names for their new bundle of joy. The choice of a name can be a very challenging experience. Does it sound right with your last name? Should you name him after a relative? Should he be named after his father? But if it becomes too difficult or confusing, you can always get a book of baby names, close your eyes, and just point. I'm Dr. Rich Masek, the author of Ideolatry, God is Not Your Problem. And today we will consider the importance of a name. In ancient times, names were chosen to commemorate an event or mark a promise. A name could have been chosen based on the hopes and dreams of the parents. Or maybe God told the parents what the name should be to define the destiny of the child. Sometimes names are changed later in life because of a significant event. In this situation, a name can define a new direction. But the description of one's character might also lead to an acquired name. This acquired name may be given because of the experience or observations of individuals who interact with the person. An individual may give a name to another person by using descriptive terms such as kind, loving, giving, or compassionate. But other, less desirable character attributes might cause a person to acquire a name such as aloof, stingy, hateful, or vindictive. Your experiences tend to define the names by which you might know a person. And many times, this is also the way that we have come to describe and give names to God. If you have endured a lot of problems in your life, you may find yourself blaming God. You may have named him the uncaring God, or God the Punisher, or maybe even the God of testing. You may have experienced the loss of loved ones and see him as God the life taker. Perhaps you have done some things that you're not so proud of, and you see him as the God of wrath. You may have suffered at the hand of another through lying, cheating, or outright abuse, and you might want God to avenge your suffering. You might want him to be the God of vengeance, or the God of retribution. Or maybe you just think that God is your enemy. On the other hand, when a new child comes into the world, you may know him as God the life giver. Or you may have realized that you're not perfect, and you have learned to know him as God the forgiver. Are you willing to consider the possibility that your view of God is based on your life experience and may not be accurate? Your views of who God is actually emanate from your personal experiences or the experiences of those who you observe or know. Right or wrong, your perceptions can become your reality and shape your understanding and attitudes. It's almost natural to have a very subjective way of assessing and understanding God. But how are you to tell if your assessments are correct or not? Where is your authority or source on the subject? Is it found in religious thought or doctrine, traditions, or subjective individual opinions? It would seem that the most accurate source would be God's Word from the Bible and the words of Jesus. Most of the attributes of God that I mentioned earlier are negative attributes that might be derived from personal experience. And the Bible presents a variety of situations that might lead the reader to see God in many of these same ways. We see terrible things attributed to God in which he either causes or at very least allows all of the bad stuff to happen. In light of this, is it right to assume that doing bad things must be part of God's character? No. How then do we reconcile the apparent conflicts in the activities described in the Bible with God's true character? I wrote Ideolatry to explore that very question. Ideolatry starts with some fundamental concepts that begin to reveal what God is all about. Well, maybe we won't learn all about God, because we do have diminished capacity relative to God. It is unlikely that we can fully understand God until we meet Him face to face, and maybe not even then. So what are some of the names that you have given to God? I invite you to read Ideolatry to help you understand why you know God by the names that you do. Check it out at ideolatry.com, where you can read my blog and download the free chapter. I hope that you will join me for the next episode, in which we will discover whether your names for God line up with the names that the Bible uses to describe Him.